So now we know how to implement tests for our APIs, but we really don't have a good measure of how effective our tests are. So what we are going to do now is use a code coverage tool to measure the effectiveness of our tests. So I'm going to check out version 0.8, and here I have made a very small change. I did not change the tests, but I've added the test coverage. So this is implemented in the coverage package for Python that you should have installed in your virtual environment if you install the requirements file that is in this project. So let's take a look. And now you can see that in my tests.py file, I have modified it and included the code that begins coverage metrics before everything else in that file. So here I import coverage, I create my coverage object, and I configure it. And the two things that I'm saying here, this is saying that I'm only interested in measuring coverage for anything that begins with API, so that will cover my API.py module and nothing else. If I don't say this, then the coverage will include all the modules that are in the virtual environment, and I'm not really interested in that. I'm only interested in measuring my own code. So this will take care of that, and branch set to true will enable branch coverage. And this is a very useful feature where the coverage metrics will include how many times a conditional statement was used only in one of the two possible options. So if you have a statement that can be true or false, you want your test to cover both cases, and this will tell you when it doesn't. So after I have my coverage configured, I start coverage metrics, and this will run in a background task. So now I can go about my business, run my tests, and then in the main module where the tests are executed, I run the tests, and then when I'm done, I stop coverage and I write a report. So let's see how that looks. So here you can see it ran the same one test, and now I have here, this is very confusing because really my testing strategy so far is not very good. So what this is saying is that there were 235 statements, 111 of them were missed by the test. There are 22 branches, of which 17 were missed, and overall the coverage is 50%, which is pretty bad. Now, this is very important. We not only get this number, the 50%, but this report will tell us exactly which lines of code did not run during the test. So here, and this is what makes this report kind of confusing, we have a very long list that spans almost 3 lines, showing me all the lines and ranges of lines that my test did not cover. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you an assignment. Using this information, you should be able to write new tests for the remaining resources and see how far you can get. If you need help, you can go to the next version, 0.9, and in this version I have implemented more tests, and let's give this one a try. You can see that when this one runs, coverage increases to 81%. So you can see and get some ideas on how to create some new tests by looking at this version.